The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
Hey, Bill Nye, the science guy here. Whenever I am listening to the radio, especially Tech Talk Radio, it's just such a party.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd.
We are the show that talks about computers,
technology,
and, of course, the internet and all the fun gadgets that are a part of that. Just Shawn and I for this week. Actually, Justin took his son to the movies to go see the new Superman movie in, what is he, in IMAX, right?
Yeah, IMAX. Which
Yeah.
I saw last week, the F1 movie in IMAX.
How was that?
Which was incredible. Yeah, it was a unique opportunity. So for Mother's Day, I had gotten Caitlin tickets to go see Wicked, and so I took her and her sister down to Indianapolis to go see Wicked, and I drove so they didn't have to drive late at night. And during that time, they had a showing for F1 at the Indiana State Museum.
Oh, cool.
In their IMAX theater. So I just popped in for 2.5 hours and watched the movie and then got out and drove them back home. It was a cool movie. The way they did it with the practical effects, and they actually drove cars in actual F1 races and took a lot of actual F1 race content. It felt like you were watching a documentary about an F1 race.
Oh,
like
wow.
It literally felt like it, just the way it was shot, the way it was handled, it was very, very well done. The music is incredible. Hans Zimmer did the score, of course, so that's going to be incredible. It was good. So I think it lived up to the hype. I'm a big motorsports fan, so it was kind of fun to see. On the topic of F1, right? The big controversy around F1 is Apple is vying very hard for the media rights for F1.
Really?
Wow. The Apple's bid is in the range of $150 million a year.
Wow.
Significantly higher than ESPN's current $85 to $90 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see how that would play in, because if Apple takes it over, then it would be on Apple TV. So I then wouldn't have to have an Apple TV account and an F1 TV account, so it'd be interesting to see. And Apple was a primary stakeholder in the F1 movie. It'll be on their platform, and they just kind of have been branding around the F1. So it'd be interesting to see how that comes up and if ESPN can keep it or not. So the reason why I like it on ESPN right now is that it's commercial free. Right? They're flag to flag coverage, right? Which is incredible compared to the other motorsports that are on TV, NASCAR, Indy, ARCA, those other series. So the production value is so much different.
Now, do you have Apple TV currently?
I do.
What do you think of that? Because I don't have Apple TV. I had an Apple TV box for a while, and then I gave it to my daughter, and I don't know whatever happened. But as a service, comparing it to, say, Netflix and Hulu or Paramount Plus, how does it rate?
We probably don't watch it as much as we should for what we pay for it, as we do with every other service we own. But it's got the content. There were specific shows. Caitlin wanted to watch Severance. Right. There were a couple other shows that were on there that are good. And to be honest, sometimes the movies that we want to watch, when you search for a movie on the Roku, it tells you which apps they're on. Sometimes the movies we want to watch are only on Apple TV, or they're only on Amazon, or they're only on Netflix, or they're only on Paramount Plus. We kind of spread the wealth around our family with the Apple ID accounts and stuff. So it's like Netflix is shared, Disney Plus is shared. The Disney Plus one is included in our Verizon bundle, so that works out really well for us.
That's good. I do a bundle with my provider, which is Xfinity, and I get like Peacock Premium, which is kind of cool. I get HBO or Max as it is. I don't get HBO itself. I get Max, which is online.
They're rebranding back to HBO, by the way, HBO Max.
So I wonder if it's. How? Yeah. What is that going to change? What is that going to mean? I don't get it.
It's just back to HBO Max. I don't know. They're rebranding back to what they were.
Sometimes these companies do these things. Like, what does that all mean? Hopefully, maybe they'll get people back. I don't know. And then we get Hulu. We get Hulu with that as well. So Hulu, Disney, and Max. But it's funny because you mentioned that, maybe you don't watch it as much. I can't tell you the last time I've logged into Max to see something. Most of the time it'll be Hulu or, Disney. I don't even.
I think the current climate for a lot of the streaming stuff is the streaming platforms are vying for internet eyeballs, right? So do you know the famous YouTuber, Miss Rachel?
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
She's on Netflix now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think you're going to see more and more of this where you're going to get these popular YouTube content creators and then they're going to leave the YouTube platform for other platforms because then they're going to be able to take those subscribers from YouTube off of YouTube to other platforms. I'm
sorry, Shawn, but I was still trying to figure out, and I found her content compelling. The kids my grandson seemed to like it. How does she make $10 million a year doing that? I don't get it.
It's the sheer volume of content that the sheer volume of views she gets on YouTube. Every video she's putting out is getting hundreds of millions of views.
Very popular.
She's just raking in ad revenue.
Yeah.
And I can attest to this, right? When Max and Daniel, sometimes we just veg out and we just put on YouTube. We put it on a kids channel, and it'll loop for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon while we're doing around, while they're playing with Legos or they're reading books or playing puzzles or doing whatever, or while we're eating lunch or eating dinner. So sometimes YouTube is on our TV 5 or 6 hours a day. We're not always there watching it, but it's just on.
Yeah.
We paid for YouTube Premium, right? So okay. I don't get ads served to us anymore because trying to do that without YouTube Premium was a real pain in the rear end.
Now there is a difference between YouTube Premium and YouTube TV, right?
Correct.
Okay. So YouTube Premium just means you're just not getting ads, or do you get access to other content?
You get access to some other premium content on Netflix, on YouTube. Right? You get access to other movies. Some other content gets unlocked. But the experience on YouTube without premium was awful.
Yeah.
Trying to stream the content that Max wanted to watch or the content that Miss Rachel, and then all of a sudden you're getting these ads.
Yeah.
So you get these ads that play because people just leave their TVs on looping for background noise, whatever, and all of a sudden it's playing an ad every 5-10 minutes.
Right.
So every 5-10 minutes, Max would come over with the remote and say, "Uh-oh," and tell us there was an ad to skip.
Right. It's funny though because I've noticed that as the kids get older, and I think Max is the same age or near the same age as my grandson, they tend to like the quality of Number Blocks was big. Number Blocks was huge, right? And he has tended to, now I can put on PBS Kids and he'll love PBS Kids and loves the programs. And I noticed it just grabs his attention, and not Sesame Street per se, not, Elmo or any of these other shows. It's more of the different content that they put on there that's geared at the children. And as I get older, I notice that the educational programs are better. And Miss Rachel seems to have tapped into that young market as well as the older, the older kids. They seem to really enjoy watching that. And parents watch it with the kids because they feel safe.
It's not awful content to watch. The music is catchy.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's people that don't know what music is, right? Some of the people on her show are actual Broadway actors and actresses. Broadway. They live on Broadway. So, some of her friends and family have been on the show that are real professional musicians. So you add a production quality to it, and her production quality on the camera side and the editing side has gone up significantly compared to the earlier. But that's every show, every kind of the track for every YouTube person that's gotten popular over the years is, they start with a crappy webcam and a crappy microphone, and then they get a little bit of money and they buy some better equipment, and then they get better. I don't know. It's just wild to see the transition of what we're watching on YouTube compared to 2 decades ago.
And now you think about what you grew up watching. What was kind of like a big influence for you? If you look back,
we actually talked a little bit about this with some of my family. Is what is the shared internet experience these days?
Oh, yeah,
right.
Good,
yeah. So for me, I grew up, my internet experience started in the late 1990s, so 97, 98, when the internet kind of really started to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
into the early 2000s, so like grade school through middle school and through high school. So primarily from 2000 to now, right? It was when the internet is. So when the internet was first around, everybody had the same shared experience.
Yeah.
You all went to the same Flash websites. You all went to the same humor websites. You all went to the same video websites, LiveLeak, YouTube, eBaum's World. Everybody had the same shared internet experience. So when I said, I saw this funny thing on Homestar Runner, everybody goes, oh, yeah, it was great. Strong Bad opened up emails and all. But that today is different. Yeah. Because the kids we get in our program at the university are all talking about, I watched this TikTok, or I watched this influencer, or I watched, but then this kid over here said, well, I don't know who that is.
Right.
I've never heard of that person. I watched this electrical engineering YouTube channel, or I watched this, marble racing YouTube channel, or whatever. No kids now growing up with the internet will have a shared internet experience. It's all going to be different. It's all siloed.
That's true.
It's all based on what you give the algorithm. It's all based on what your interests are. So it's interesting to see. So like for me, I grew up watching a lot of storm chasing videos because that interested me when I was growing up.
Oh, that's cool.
I watched a lot of Reed Timmer. Well, Reed Timmer is now probably one of the largest storm chaser YouTube channels that exists. He's a little eccentric. He's he's probably not the most popular by a lot of stretch. So I watched him, and then there's not really any other YouTube creators that I followed. That's outside of my motorsports connections. I like to watch a lot of V8 supercars, because they post a lot on YouTube, a lot of motorsports videos. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have a set number of people that I follow or content creators that I followed, especially for the last 5 years. I've been off the internet a little bit, off the social media a little bit. So it's been interesting to see how I get my content.
Right.
Whether it's from what Caitlin shows me, or what I get through Reddit. Right. Or what I get shared via my friends.
Do you now? I do this with my grandson. Do you do with your kids? Like, you might. I heard about this channel. I want to check it out, and you might look at it and just to see, is this something that would interest them? That kind of thing, or do you just go with what the most popular ones that are fed?
We kind of just let it. We kind of just let it go.
Right.
And Max, he had some interest. He liked trains for a while, like airplanes. So we watched a lot of live streaming of airplanes, train videos, and then he kind of got into Hot Wheels and Legos. So he did a lot of Hot Wheels and Legos, and now he's more into a couple of just silly animated ones.
Right.
Some animated Panda Bear ones that are funny with songs that are catchy.
Were you able to keep him away from Baby Shark? Were you?
No. No, so one of the shows is called Baby Bus, which is by the people who made Baby Shark.
Ping Fong, yep.
So there's a lot of the songs in there for that, which is fine, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But with the YouTube Premium side of it too, it allows us to curate it a little bit on the side, so we're not getting into it's not unfettered access for him, right? He doesn't just have the remote and click to watch whatever he wants. He's also only 3.5, so he doesn't really know what he wants. He just knows, I want to watch Cars, or I want to watch YouTube, or I want to watch Cars, Legos. That was big for him.
Right.
Those are the two big ones. He likes to watch people unboxing Matchbox cars.
Oh, that's awesome.
He likes to watch people build Legos.
Right.
So speed building, things like that.
We ended up getting. I'll tell you, we got August. Number blocks, because he watches number blocks. So we got him the number blocks. So that's got to be huge revenue for them to be able to sell the toys that are branded based on so he'll be watching the number blocks and building the number blocks. So they all kind of plug into each other and put a number on the top of them and everything else. And then this is kind of cute. I got to tell you about this. I'll post the photo up on our blog. We got him the alphabets. They're, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We got him those. They're in a wooden, a little wooden platform, and they fit in there. And he could create words. Well, now he's watching, he'll watch TV and see the bug in the bottom of the right screen, and it says PBS, and he'll create PBS with the letters. So the other day, I had recorded my Fox segment, and it was on. And what did he create? Fox. Which, of course, I said to the producer of the show. She thought that was cute. But yeah, so I mean, there are so many kids are learning so many different ways. Whereas before, you think about this too. If you had to do any research, you had to have mom and dad drive you to the library. That's what my mom and dad would do. If I needed to do research for a project, there wasn't the internet when I was, growing up. That didn't come along till I was having kids already. And, as far as educational TV, I actually worked in high school. I was the student advisor to our local KOCE TV for educational television. I don't know how I got into that, but I ended up going to meetings, and I would say, yeah, the kids would like this, or the kids wouldn't like this, the kids would like this. And we saw a lot of 3-2-1 Contact, some of the other shows that were, available on that local PBS type station. And it's funny because now I just think, man, kids have got it great. They have to do studies. They can pull it up. And now you've got AI that is doing things. There's even Corson. I think we're going to try and get this guy on the show that actually has a website that helps educators learn how to use AI in the classroom. And, not to use it incorrectly, because use it incorrectly, that can't be great for the students. So again, it's, I don't know, it's pretty interesting. I like to see where we have come from and where we're going.
It'll be interesting to see in four more years, when Max is actually in grade school, first, second grade, how this all pans out.
Yeah.
Like what, it's going to be interesting, right? So.
Right.
Don't really know where it's going to go, and it's so hard with how fast technology is going to anticipate where it's going to go, or what do we need to prepare for? What do we need to be encouraging him to do? What do we not want to be doing? What impacts are these technologies going to have on his social life growing up, on his mental aptitude growing up? Like, how are these going to impact him? So it's just trying to, we're encouraging, we do a lot of book reading.
Good.
We do a lot of puzzles. We are not doing tablets in the car.
Right.
So whenever we're traveling, it's books or toys, or they can stare out the window. If they throw their toys around or throw their books, they don't get anything. So we're, at least for a point, right? Up until a point where they can understand what they're doing and why, they're not just aimlessly staring into a tablet and swiping while we're driving. And just being present with them more. Yeah. And we're doing a lot of outdoor stuff. It's really nice out here. The weather's really nice. So we've been doing a lot of hiking on the weekends. We've gone camping 5 times this year already. So just being more present with them with less screen time. Now, it's interesting because, and I like to talk about this because it's like sometimes when we come home from work, we just want to relax. Yeah. We just want to do what we want to do.
I know the feeling.
And I have to remind myself, our daycare has been fantastic. So when Caitlin and I are both working, our daycare is so good about engaging our children in things, and we get updates, and we get feedback, and we can provide our feedback to what we want our kids to be able to do. And they're engaged from the time we drop them off till the time we pick them up. No screens,
right?
Activities, gym time, all that stuff. So sometimes I have to remember they've had a busy day too, right? They need some mental unload time, right, to just process the day.
Good point.
So we don't want to necessarily force them to not have screen time at home with limits, right? We're not going to just let them watch TV for 6 hours until they go to bed.
Right.
But we have to remember that, like, they've been engaged all day long mentally, and that their brains still need a break just like ours.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I had somebody ask me about AI, and they were wondering, like, what do I think about it? And I'm very honest. I do use it, and I think it's important to understand how it works. But they said they're going to keep their kids away from AI. They're going to, and I told them, I said, that's like the parents that said they didn't want their kids involved in computer education back in the 80s. That they didn't want their kids to understand how computers work. that actually can be a detriment. I think it's important that they understand how AI can work, not to do the work for you, but to understand that you're going to have to understand how to prompt it, how to get the correct information. Some parents will probably disagree with me, but I think it's important that they understand that it is something that is being used.
Parents have to take the responsibility to help educate future generations. You have to. You have to be involved. The people that said, I don't want my kids involved in computers, they just didn't understand how computers were going to help shape the future. They just didn't.
Yeah.
They were scared of it. They thought it was going to take away jobs, which they did. It did. But it generated so much more on the back end in terms of technology, generational wealth, generational knowledge. So the people that are saying like AI is garbage, we're not going to let our kids use AI, we're not going to let our kids do screen time, we're not going to let our kids do this. They cannot function in society if you're limiting them on how they are going to perceive technology. If you're just saying AI bad, I'm not going to learn it because I think AI is bad, you are setting your kids up for a technological failure in the future.
Yeah.
You have to take the responsibility to understand, even if you don't agree with it or don't use it, you as a parent have to understand how it works, how it is treated as a tool so that you can avoid the bad AI. Don't let your kids get unfettered access to it. So they just go in and start searching willy-nilly on whatever they want. Show your kids how to use it. Show your kids the benefit it can provide them. Show them how to foster it into a tool that they can use to help themselves down the road. Because if you don't, they're going to learn from their neighbor. They're going to learn from their friends at school. They're going to learn from the internet. They're going to learn from all of the places you wanted them to avoid in the first place. Engage with your kids in the technology and the tools you want them to learn in, and they are going to love it. Going to be so much better off if they're learning it from you as a parent and you have the understanding of it, and you need to just get the knowledge yourself so you can then pass it on to your children, even if you don't agree with it.
I remember my 12-year-old son, Ricardo, would sit in the kitchen with me, and that's where we had a little kitchen table, and I would build computers. And that's, when I was really getting into it, I would build like a 386, you build the 286, 386, and put the memory in, and I would show him what we were doing. And I have pictures of him like watching this thing put together, and even had him help once in a while. Little did I know that, years later, he was learning how to code. He was learning how to write, scripts and do all this really cool stuff with technology. And that's, part of what he does now as his profession. Just that time to understand what was being done was very helpful to maybe help him in what he would do in the future and continue to express that desire for it. So again, I think you're right. It's important you do all that stuff with them and help them along.
AI is a tool. It's just another tool. It, like you said, we talked about it in the break where we were saying, this is how I use AI, right?
Yeah.
I'm using it to search. We were talking, hey, when you wanted to look something up in Linux. Okay,
yeah.
Well, previously, how would you do that? You'd look it up in a book.
Right.
You'd go to the shelf, pick the book up, look in the index, what you wanted for, search page by page, go, okay, here it is. And then you go to your computer and you try it. All I'm doing with AI is now, instead of going to the shelf, picking up the book, I'm asking the prompt, hey, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. How do I list all of my hard drives in Linux?
Right.
It spits out a command, and I can type it in, and I've now learned a thing.
Yeah. Can be totally helpful.
Totally helpful. So instead of me having to go to a book, now great. It's great to have books. It's great to be tactile. It's great to have the feelings. But the way I'm using AI is a tool to help me learn the little things like how to do small commands in Linux, or searching for manuals, searching in manuals, like, hey, I have this piece of hardware. I need to know how to do X, Y, or Z. Please find me the manual for this and show me in the manual where it is. And then I can go read the manual. It'll pull it up for me, or it'll guide me so I can download the manual, or it'll provide it for me as a PDF, and I can then search through the manual. All
right, we had to take a break, but I will also say this for those that are listening right now, and maybe you're not, working with Linux, or you're not working on your computer. Maybe it's something else around the house you need to figure out how to do. Maybe a brand name that doesn't seem to be working right. you can actually ask your AI, in most cases, how to do something, or what is the meaning of something, or you get an error code on something, or my TV isn't channeling right. How do I fix that? You'll be surprised at how it can answer and respond to it. So again, give it a shot. You might be happy with what you get. We're going to take that break. We'll come back with more of Tech Talk Radio, find out why Shawn has got all these computers sitting around laying on the floor in his studio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
My basement is covered with computers.
Why is your?
I mean,
why do you have so many computers?
That's not abnormal for my basement. Let's be honest. But it's extra messy right now. If I rolled backwards, I'd tip over my Plex server because it's on the floor behind me running.
You've got several computers behind you.
Yeah, there's a shell of one. There's a shell of another one. A coworker of mine just one day decided getting out of the PC world. He's going to go Mac only. Just
really?
Straight up said, I'm getting rid of all my PCs. I'm going Mac only. I'm done with Windows. I'm done with the PC life. I'm going Mac only.
Wow.
And so he said, if anybody wants PC stuff, I'm giving it away for dirt cheap. So, of course, I can't turn down cheap computer parts. So I obtained a small collection of computer parts, processors, motherboards, you name it. Built my niece a computer out of it. Got her super happy running Minecraft on a 3060 Ti. She's loving it. And she's super happy with that. She wants to get into computers anyways. But then I was able to finally, thank God, upgrade my Plex server.
Oh, great. Now, what were you running before?
It was running an old iBuyPower micro ATX board.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Running an i3 2800.
Okay. Wow.
And only 16 gigs of RAM. It was originally a Windows Vista machine, I think, or a Windows 7 machine, I think, maybe even. But it was an old iBuyPower PC that I had ripped out of a box, shredded it apart, took the micro ATX board out, put it. It was running a very low end i5 or an i3 or something. So I finally migrated to a current gen system. So now I'm running i7 9 series.
Oh, wow. Really?
I jumped way up.
Yeah.
And I'm running a 3060 in there, an NVIDIA 3060. I went from a 1070 to a 3060. The benefit, and this is what was cool, I tried this. I was running Linux Mint 22. Linux Mint is probably the best version of Linux I've used. It's just got a great UI. It's super easy to use.
I thought when Ubuntu was the thing until I installed Linux Mint and played around with that, and I said, nope, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, I've played with Debian, I've played with Ubuntu, I've played with Elementary, I've played with a handful of other Linux distributions. Linux Mint is by far the best and easiest one that I've had an experience using. So everybody's going to have their own opinion.
Yeah.
But I was curious. So I asked one of my coworkers, I was like, do you think if I went from a Intel processor to an Intel processor and a NVIDIA GPU to an NVIDIA GPU, if I could just migrate the OS into the new machine, the new system?
All right.
He's like, I don't know. Never tried it. So I just moved the hard drive over and plugged it into the motherboard, booted to it.
You had no problem with it?
Zero issue loading into it.
Oh, my God. That's pretty amazing.
It detected that there was a change.
Right.
And I don't remember what it said, but it booted, so I figured it was going to be fine.
That's awesome.
And I haven't had any issues, right? And that was off the integrated graphics on it. And then I put in the 3060, downloaded the Linux NVIDIA drivers, loaded them, and it's been running fine. Now, it's still sitting right behind me because I haven't had a whole lot of time to actually put it back in the rack in my workshop and remount it and get everything back in. Plus, because the old micro ATX board only had 4 SATA ports on it, now I have 8 SATA ports on this motherboard.
Oh, man.
So I can populate it with 4 more 2 terabyte drives and put them in RAID and get 6 terabytes of storage in a RAID. So now I'll have a little bit more RAID space, which I wanted originally.
For our listeners who don't understand, Shawn, a Plex server, can you quickly tell us what is that?
So Plex is a media server that plays media off of a computer that you can then stream via the app or the Windows application and play media back, movies. So I've ripped all of my DVDs digitally. So I have used Handbrake or Make MKV to rip my DVDs and my Blu-rays digitally. It basically pulls the media files off them and stores them on my computer. Plex is then basically a library for that, where I can put those files into Plex and then view them on the app and play them.
So it's almost like having your own Netflix or your own.
It's a home theater system, right? It's a media player. There are many like it. Use alternative 2 to find out another one if you don't want to use Plex. but it allows us to put media on the network and then be able to watch it on your iPhone, watch it on your Android, watch it on your smart TV, watch it on your Xbox, your PlayStation, your PC. But it's great because I've also put all of my home movies on there. So all of my family stuff is in there. And then what you can do is if you're smart enough about it, you can make it accessible outside of your home. I just tell my family, hey, download Plex, connect to my server. Here's my login, connect to this IP address. And then they can watch all of the home movies that I have on my Plex server.
You could choose what they're able to see. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
So then I don't have to, they don't have to go to a Google Drive and download a Google Drive folder or a link and watch it there. They can just go to Plex and they can watch whatever they want. And it treats it, you can put thumbnails in, you can give descriptions, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what you see behind me is kind of a Plex upgrade graveyard with PC parts kind of strewn all over the place.
Have you ever thought about starting your own business? How about a business in the tech world, creating a website that will bring visitors and create conversations? That is exactly what Anna Belch did with her website, Les Amis. We're going to be talking to her about the creation of this website, who it's geared to, and why it has finally come to fruition. And it's seeing some really great results. That's coming up with Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Send us an X at Tech Talk Radio.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Hey, this is comedian Kathleen Madigan, and you're listening to Tech Talk Radio, something I will never be listening to because I hate technology. But for those of you that do, these are your guys.
No doubt, when you are looking to make a friend, sometimes you go on to Facebook and you might find somebody in your circle that you could connect with, that maybe have the same interest. When it comes to dating, there have been so many dating apps over the years for connecting, whether it be sites like Tinder or even some of the other sites that are out there. And I've even seen some people jump on LinkedIn and try and establish friendships there. But there is a new website that is really making a great connection with the female audience. And Anna Belch is the founder of Les Amis, if I pronounced it right, and is with us on Tech Talk Radio. Anna, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invitation.
Tell us a little bit about this idea, Les Amis, and how it is redefining how women make meaningful friendships in 2025 outside of possibly the dating world.
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, how Les Amis was created and why Les Amis was created is basically from my personal story. In general, I moved countries twice. So first, I'm from Estonia originally, then I moved to Dublin to work at PayPal as a product manager. And then after a couple of years, I moved to Barcelona. And I was absolutely surprised that it's actually so hard to find like-minded people in the new city, especially if you're not a student anymore, you're working from home, or maybe you're working in the office or with the colleagues who is, for example, much older than you, or only male-dominated company and so on. And then I tried, I think, all the apps, all the websites, and you were absolutely right mentioning, for example, Facebook groups. There's also Meetup, Eventbrite, Bumble BFF, and so on. Try them all, and unfortunately didn't find any friends, even though I was wow, I'm absolutely normal person. Why it is so hard to find new friends, even though I would say in my mind was that finding friends is kind of just a basic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It sounds very easy, but in reality, it's not at all. And you're also were absolutely right that there's 100 apps for dating, for Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, Raya, and there's literally hundreds of them. And then from my personal experience of using all the apps for friendship, I kind of noted why it didn't succeed for me, basically, and tried to fix all the problems that kind of I had.
Well, if you think about this, Anna, there's a certain amount of guard you put up a wall when you're online on social media in many of these situations, especially with Facebook, and Instagram and Snap even. You have to have a kind of a wall for protection, number one, of your assets, but also your person, who you are. Finding a group though where everybody really has the same kind of, I don't want to say goal, but yeah, that would be right, goal. The
Yeah.
same idea of meeting some people with like minds that you could be friends with and learn from and share with. That's got to be the challenge, and that's exactly what Leah Mies has kind of set forth with this whole friendship economy. It's kind of, you may have been, a real trendsetter and trend starter here, finding what was lacking in the others and being able to put it all into one.
Absolutely, you're totally right because what is like special for Lesami? First of all, we're meeting in groups. Usually the groups of like women is 10 or maximum 12 people. Why so? First of all, of course, safety. Meeting in the groups are way safer than meeting one-on-one. And also in terms of just, as you mentioned, the goal, or for example, I call it that everyone come with the same intention of finding friends, then also the conversation goes way more like smoother when it's like 10 people than just one-to-one, because especially if you're an introverted person, it's actually really hard to come to this one-to-one meeting because you will feel like awkward, maybe like you won't be able to figure out which question to ask and so on. It's like small talk and the first talk with strangers always hard, but what we do in Lesami is that first of all, you meet in small group, and second, there's also an event like in place, kind of in the middle of this meeting, and it can be everything. So right now we do over 500 events per month. And it can be like pottery, bouquet making, just like brunch, spa evenings, any beauty, skincare, like talks and so on with the host, with the expert that is like teaching you how to use, for example, Korean cosmetic and so on. And then usually event is 2 hours. And after these 2 hours, it's because it's went so smoothly and then nobody were pushed to, let's say, remove the silence and say something, because there's always something happening. And then in the meantime, you can also have the conversation with the girls. That's like one way how we connect our users. And the second way works a bit different, is that we build our own algorithm, like AI model, which basically calculates the connectivity score between women based on their profiles. So basically, like, for example, Anna and Emma, they have many things in common. The connectivity score is 92%, for example. And then we create a chat group for them and explain why you got connected, which also really helps because then they have this kind of theme for a small talk. Because it says, okay, of course you both live in the same city and you both like play tennis and love something else. And then as an easy question, it can be already asking like, oh, like for how long you're playing tennis and where you're playing? Maybe let's go together to play tennis. And that's how we meet. And that's what we see from like all the feedbacks from this like AI feature that we built in the app, that there's actually the feedback is really, really good.
So you can actually group this geographically as well. So if you have like a group that is in like Green Valley, Arizona, or Phoenix, or possibly, in another part of the world, or you maybe even they're from those areas, they can actually connect with those that have those same interests based on the area as well with these events. That's a great idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how it works.
Now, what was it like, Anna, for you to get this great idea and then get it made? Was it a challenge to get done? Or did you find a lot of people that said, no, we can do this, we have this capability?
It is definitely a challenge, and it's still a challenge, even though we're building Lesami for 3.5 years. for sure can say the first year is the hardest because first of all, like I started with my co-founder Oleg. There was just two of us in the beginning. At that time, I was like the employee in big corporation. Oleg was also like at Google for almost 10 years. And for us, jumping into something uncertain and very questionable, of course, it's hard because once you have like your job in a big corporation, you feel absolutely, let's say, safe and secure. You have guaranteed paycheck in a certain day of the month, and you always know that everything is covered. Maybe you also have some perks as an insurance and so on, which is like awesome. And then one day, like you decide to build something by your own, and there will be just, for in our case, two of us, and we need to cut everything. There is no insurance anymore, no paychecks. It's only you, your knowledge, and your savings.
Yeah.
And we don't know like when will it work out, or will it like work out at the end, like in general or not. And in addition to that, even though it's already sounds scary, but in addition to that, you have an imposter syndrome. Because right now there's only two of you, but imagine there is about like your idea, there's just an idea. The company is not incorporated. There is no website, there is no logo, no branding. You don't even know how it will look like, how will it work. There's no app, there's no clients, there is no ads about you, and like there's like literally nothing, which means two of you need to do all that stuff, and you become marketing manager, product manager, designer, lawyer, accountant, and like everything. And of course, I've been only a product manager all my life, basically.
Right.
So this is something that I'm doing good, and
Oh,
I know I have knowledge. And then, like within a day, you become like 10 more roles.
Yeah.
And of course, you feel quite awkward. Of course, you have like something like depressions, or of course, since you start to work like 14, 12 hours per day, absolutely every day, without any weekends and vacations. Like my first vacation was only 2 years after we started.
Wow.
That was the time when we're like, okay, now we have a team of 6, and probably they can manage 1 week without me.
You're hoping, yes.
Yeah, you're just hoping, and you don't know, because also what I understood, if you kind of go to vacation, but you're still working, like for example 3-4 hours per day just to check it out, then it doesn't help you to really like relax and like recharge. You need to like shut it down absolutely without any messages and so on.
You know, I love the message of the website, and I've been on the website. I can't sign up. I'm a guy, but it's we enable women to achieve more by bringing them together, and you know that's that empowerment phase. And I've talked to a lot of women business owners, young women that are saying, "Hey, what should I do here, or what should I do there?" This is a great way to get that input from other women that have, like yourself, that have experienced starting a business from scratch, or even maybe have succeeded in many other businesses in the past. It's not just about the arts. It's not just about relationships. It's about also learning from many others that can be help, and a great way to start a valuable friendship. When you think about it and you look at it and you say, well, social tech, and again, we've talked about some of the other sites there. It's not just about making that match. It's about having that feeling of belonging, and that's what Leamis kind of brings to everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we wanted to bring. And like this message, we're connecting, we enable you to achieve more by connecting you together, is actually came also from my personal experience. Because, for example, once I joined PayPal, I was just 21, actually one of the youngest. And then there, I was lucky, I got multiple mentors. Also, only women in the company who were like pushing me and like showing me the path, where should I go. And then also once, for example, I was just 24 once I became a CEO and co-founder, also very young. And then to overcome a lot of challenges, I also got some coaches, also actually only women. It just happened like that, who really helped me to go through the challenge of like finding myself. And also you can imagine when you're just 24, you do this tons of like different hats, you're wearing different hats, and then you go to conferences and you need to speak with investors, and of course they're only men, and they see this 24 years old very young girl, and of course they don't like really
They don't
let's
give you their
say,
full ear. The
yeah,
full
really,
attention.
it's like, oh, okay, you're just doing something, okay, you're a nice girl, but let me talk with like real men and real
Yeah.
businesses. Of course, now tables have turned, and like you can see like the result on the product and so on. But it's a really hard time, just like to show yourself, to show what you can create, and
The website is lesamis.cc. It's lesamis.cc. The name, how did you come up with the name and how it represents the brand?
so we wanted to create a stylish brand, but which also will be kind of playful and a beautiful name. And that's how we decided that maybe it can be something French. And les amis, for example, it just means friends in French. And but the funny thing, we actually considered as the first name, as the first idea was friends. But of course, as a business owner, the first thing what you do once you're choosing the name, you go to the Google search and put the name
Oh,
and
yeah.
see like what's happening. And you can imagine there was at least like 10 pages
Oh,
only
yeah.
about Friends, the TV series, and we're like, okay, it's impossible to beat them in the search. So let's think about another idea.
Well,
But yeah,
I think it's perfect. It fits really well. It's a great looking website, and I hope our listeners take a look at it and recommend it to their daughters, their friends, their coworkers, and a great way to continue to build. And you've seen really great growth since the site has been officially launched.
actually, yes, and we didn't expect that because just within the first month we got almost 2,000 applications
That's great.
just in one city, and it was like wow. Because in the beginning, I was of course questioning: is it like the problem just for me
Yeah.
in terms of finding friends? Because I never heard like anyone complaining about that. But like when we started there, I mean, in the world in general, there was no such a movement of communities or different apps or like even talking about friendship. At that time, only like government, like different countries started to talk about loneliness epidemic in general. And that year, for example, England decided to have Minister of Loneliness.
Really? Oh, wow.
They have this role. They have like a particular budget to like overcome the loneliness epidemic in
That's good.
UK. So which means that within this 3.5 years, we started it, but now there's a lot of companies like similar ones to talk more about loneliness, about finding friends, and that's actually normal to have your like third place, third community, not only like family, work, but then they're also something else. For example, before, right now it's not really the case anymore. The third place was church. Actually, church was connecting people very well because everybody like through like neighborhoods are coming to the church on Sundays. They know they will meet a lot of people, make friends, and so on. Now, the new era of communities and something like Lesami, where you have your community, you belong to something, and you have your circle around you.
Well, it is great. Continued success to you, Anna. I want to thank you for coming on the show and telling us about the website. I want to tell our listeners to check it out, lesamis.cc. And I hope we get a chance to talk to you again. And again, continued success with the site.
Thank you very much for this conversation.
We will have more of Tech Talk Radio. That is coming up. Make sure you find us up on YouTube. You can subscribe to our page as well, youtube.com/Tech Talk Radio.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Apple has announced that they have their iOS 26 beta. Now, they changed the naming pattern of their iOS, so now, of course, it's coinciding with the year. So I guess they're looking ahead for the next year, which will be, 2026. So my question for Shawn today was, of course, did you get the beta?
I always like getting the betas. Everybody thinks I'm crazy because they're like, oh, you're going to get a buggy mess. And it's going to be annoying. Well, that's how you help. I can now help develop a little bit, right? I can help cater to the things that I want to see. So I upgraded to the developer beta, which is great.
Right.
But it includes the new liquid glass update.
Okay, so yeah, there was a lot of talk about that when they made the announcement.
It's just a way for them to look at the icons and make them more rounded and shiny and look like glass. And I'm not a big fan, to be honest.
Is it just getting used to it, you think, or is it?
No, it's not. It's not a good look. I don't care for it. It rounds a lot of things. They made the icon. The certain icons are way bigger. Menu options are way bigger. Even with my font sizes the way they were and the icon sizes the way they were, some things just, you're like, whoa, that's in your face.
Oh.
And they moved some things around. They changed the icons for a couple of the core apps. So just some muscle memory, getting used to some muscle memory. Some more customization options. The big one is they moved some, like they said, they moved some things around. Some of the big ones are the search function.
Really?
So normally, like on an iPhone, you would swipe down from the top, and the search bar would be at the top, near the island if you have a newer phone. Now all of the searches are at the bottom above your keyboard, and the search bar kind of floats there above the keyboard.
I have that with the Pixel. They have it down towards the bottom, too.
Yeah, so it's just different, right? So now I'm getting used to where my eyes are trained to use, where my thumbs are, because they moved a lot of the X's to close things to the bottom next to the search bar. So getting used to that, and I think I mentioned it like this, right? More often than not, a lot of times when we were first getting smartphones, everybody had it in one hand.
Right.
Everybody wanted one-hand operation of their phone, being able to reach across with your thumb to give. But now that phones are so big, everybody's gone to a two-handed operation.
Yep. Yeah.
So, where are your thumbs? Right? If you hold your phone with both hands, everybody. I want people.
Unless you're driving.
Unless you're driving. If you hold your phone, your index fingers are typically on the sides.
Right.
And your thumbs are at the bottom.
Right.
So now try, while holding your phone like that, try to close a menu with an X at the top.
Oh yeah. Oh.
What are you doing? You're moving your whole hand.
Yep.
Or you're moving your right hand or your left hand, right? Most people I've seen using phones now are double-handed. Yeah. Everybody's using them double-handed.
Yep.
Not single-handed anymore. And the UI is adapting to that.
Unless you're styling and you got the old school flip phone. You just whip that thing out, flip it open.
But to do T9 Word, you still have to use two thumbs.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
We're kind of going back to that, right? That's how you held your old phones.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people could T9 Word with one thumb if you were smart enough, or you had the sidekick, you just flipped it open, you had a full keyboard.
Yeah.
I had a sidekick, I loved it.
Those were good.
But it's interesting to see. I'm now a two-hand phone holder. Like I'm now seeing the UI, the user experience is now forcing me to be the two-thumber. Whereas before, I would do one hand and reach across or reposition my hand. I'm doing a lot less. It's actually a lot less hand movement.
Yeah. But when you're holding it with one hand.
It's weird to think about, but it's drawing me into the two-handed, two-thumb interface.
Kind of like exercising to be a thumb wrestler.
Hey, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
There you go. All right, listen. We are
Yeah, so it's
we are out of time. Covered a lot of stuff, and there was a lot more stuff we wanted to cover. Hopefully next week I'll be able to talk a little bit about that with the Lenovo Legion Y530 that I have been having major issues with, and I want to find out your thoughts. Save this. Maybe some listeners can let us know too what they think about OneDrive.
Yeah, we have some great listener questions that I wanted to get to, but we just ran out of time.
Yeah.
So we always love your listener questions. Call us, email us, text us, FaceTime us.
Yep.
We'll answer your calls.
Everything you'll find at TechtalkRadio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Have a great week.